for that presentation. Indeed, you're quite right. We think this is a very thin memorandum, and yet the work you're doing is so key to the well-being and the future of this country. You have been very bold when you started by saying there are persons holding public office who should not. And there's precious little you can do because of that assumption, presumption of innocence in law, that every person is found to be innocent until they are proven guilty. Had we, as a country, achieved clarity on that issue, we'll be very far away. My first question is, your own officers, you seem to be very clear on what the governors have been able to do or not been able to do, because they are not accounting officers, and therefore get away, get other people to be sacrificial lambs. But your own, it has also been reported, your own officers go out to the counties, and the first thing that happens is the people who are supposed to fight against corruption get compromised. I'm sure you may have had reports to that effect, where your own people, and before you even want to get full staff complement, 790 of those senior people, I think are quite a number. If they are effective, if 100 of them are effective, we will change the governance structure in this country. Or indeed, the results. When they say corruption fights back, and all of that. So where you make recommendations by Talib that certain regulations need to be done, Commission recommends this and the other, I think you do need to give us specific proposals on which aspects. For example, the Election Campaign Financing Act, unless you have stolen in this country, you have no hope of winning an election. That is my own, I put it to you, and prove me wrong, that unless you steal and steal big, yeah, you cannot win an election in Kenya. You may disagree with that proposal, okay, yeah, and because that is a perception. And again, you talked about the last regime, even the current regime, where we are told that you are used as a weapon. You weaponize EACC. Are you therefore independent? I want to get that from you, because I'll give you a classic example. A senior member of Azimio Coalition is called and sent out there. We get Mother Karua, who was the who was the running mate to Raila Odinga, comes in. She's senior counsel. She's not even allowed entry to Integrity House. And by the way, Integrity House, I'm sure you know, but Talib has his own history, okay, which is really founded on deep corruption. I would have expected they were moved out of Integrity House and look for another building. Look at the history of that building. But I want to commend you for being bold. But let us have specific aspects of legislation that you'd want worked on. And then, if you can be independent, this country will make progress. And that's why, and I saw Bishop Oginda there as your chair, sometimes I pity him, as I did pity his predecessor. Because the moment you are appointed there from the faith community, you're seeing the first perception within the first few years is you've already been swallowed up. You lose your ethos. And so, corruption is our problem. The elephant in the room in this country is corruption. And if we have men and women committed to do something about it, we'll make progress. But we thank you for honoring us by coming to present, but you allow my other colleagues.